Okay, hold on a
In
minute.
his office and I can tell him if his car was there.
Looking for Randy?
Yeah,
I saw somebody look like him in a van go off.
he's been a little busy today.
Yeah.
He was,
All right, call meeting in order 5:30. And roll call.
Sarah Thompson,
here.
Mike Baker,
Here.
Tom Trotter,
Here.
Lonnie Rainville, absent, Janice Baker,
Here.
Doug Mendenhall, Michaela Hammerson. That's it.
All right, pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Move on to the consent agenda. Hey, Miguel.
Here's the packet, we need one.
Okay, you could come again. Oh, there's
Let Doug
space.
sit down.
It's like,
I know, they're very slow.
like I should play shuffleboard.
Oh, yeah, I might have set the table last time.
Yeah, let's move on to the consent agenda, item 4.1.
Move to approve the consent agenda for dinner.
One second.
All right. Mike made a motion to approve the consent agenda. Sarah seconded. All those in favor? Motion passes. Move on. So that's for the 4.1 to 4.4.
Mhm.
All right, move on to item number 5, financial report. First, Sherry Blue.
Okay. So did everybody get a chance to look at all the different stuff that was sent?
Yeah.
Yes.
Do you have any questions about it?
Oh, yeah.
Do you have any comments about what you do like, don't like, because it's kind of,
Some of it I just find confusing.
There was
okay,
one that had like your, checking account balance and something, and then it showed like a different number on the, down below.
Oh, so the cover sheet shows today's balance.
So what?
The cover sheet shows today's balance.
Oh, okay.
And then, yeah,
Just curious, was today's balance before or after payroll?
it was, this is before payroll. And we did send some payments out last week on Friday, so, we have about 18,000 right now.
18?
Mhm. So we included, the balance sheet. Now, the profit and loss, I did it from the very beginning, so it included all transactions all the way back to the beginning until, March of 2024. So that you can see the net income as a total, as a whole. Because the P and Ls for just, this fiscal year and for just March do not look so good, so.
So it looked like the July, it looked like the, well, they say July to March, but, it looked like there was like $1 million loss on the, so I didn't misread that on the medical transportation, 1.35, is that what we're reading? Page 6 of the medical.
On page 6,
And then there was like a 300 or something thousand on the air transit or battle ride, yes.
I don't know which ones you're looking at. 06 of 6.
Which was the medical transportation piece, I thought, unless I misread that or done something.
Or is that the net for everything?
That's the
that's
net
net
for
for
everything. Yeah, that's the net for everything. Yep.
Or now the number so.
Yeah. That's the net for all those.
In other words, overall, everything, we're operating 1.3 deficit. And-
And that reflects on
For this, Right, for this fiscal year.
Yeah.
Now that's just income and expenses for this fiscal year. So it doesn't account for. I mean, all the stuff that we got at the beginning.
Oh, it
so,
doesn't?
No,
Okay,
so that's why I did it from the beginning,
On this one?
all the way back to the beginning, like. July of 2019 through the current, and we're a net income. of
And that's on page 1 of 1, profit and loss.
Yeah.
Also,
Yes. Yes, the P and L. It says all transactions at the top.
And that does include grant funds?
Oh. other
That's
than-
everything we've
the next
received and
one.
everything we've
Just
paid
keep-
out from the very
3
beginning
pages
to
from the
date.
very front.
Got it.
It gets confusing.
It does. So I wasn't sure what you guys would like to see moving forward. The variance report, I don't know if you guys had a chance to look at it, it's got a lot of information on it, but
Yeah, there's a lot. A lot of variances. But this part was what kind of confused me, just as an example from the variance reports. Like the first item is 50012005339 something, so the money over budget is negative, like 1.7 million, does that mean that we?
that means
underutilized?
we've underutilized.
Okay.
So these are bus replacement funds, so, there's some, like the electric buses that we
Hmm.
have the grant money, we have the grant that's been awarded to us.
Yeah.
But we have not purchased the vehicles yet, so therefore we have not gotten the reimbursements for them yet, so. On the vehicle purchases, you're only gonna see the money coming in, when we actually receive vehicles. And we do a reimbursement for them. Same thing with like the project next door. We budgeted for that money, but we haven't had any expenses for it yet, so we haven't gotten any reimbursements,
So like,
very little.
like another example would be the medical transportation payroll expense, number 30. It's on page 2 of 3 for the variance report. This for my own clarification to help understand it better. So it's negative $57,332. Does that mean that we're under income or like? Or was that-
Expense, so on the expenses, if you look at the July through March, we've
Yeah.
spent. This is on the payroll, we've spent 181,000, we budgeted 238,000, so we
So you
are
haven't spent
under,
as much.
right,
Okay.
right.
So anything with a negative is a good thing, so if your money open, right? So it's mine.
Anything with a negative on expenses is a good thing. Anything with a negative on income, you just have to, I mean, you have to look at it as, is it a capital? Because if it's not a capital, then we should be getting that money in, but if it is a capital, then if we haven't started the project or we haven't purchased the vehicles, then we're not gonna get it.
There's also a lot of other costs something you probably learned with capital projects, because there's more employees and also you have to have the match funds. So it's not necessarily bad to be under for that, right?
Right. It just means we budgeted for it because we know that we have the grant awarded to us, but we haven't spent any of. it.
Yeah, so they are over on paratransit payroll, right?
So on the paratransit payroll, we are over. Let me go back to the payroll page, sorry. Yeah, we are over 73,000, but remember demand response and para, the employees kind of flex between the two.
Mhm.
So that's why I put in the notice that, para and DAR have the drivers that flex between. Year to date, we're still under budget by 67,000 for the two categories in
Okay.
total.
Yeah, that's because demand response is under by 140.
Yep.
Okay.
And this is just according to how we have our, the adopted budget that we adopted.
From last year. For the current.
Right. have any more questions or comments or suggestions on what you'd like to see moving forward?
Can you explain the over budget with the CARES one here? So this is,
On the income,
yeah,
okay,
so these are funds received for this grant. Does that mean there's no additional money left in that grant if we're over budget?
so annually that we budgeted 329,000 on the very far right hand. To date, year to date, we budgeted 247 and we've used 284,000. So the COVID funding just became available to us in February. And the CARES funding is really kind of what's gonna help get us back, like, where we have a little bit more cushion moving forward. So we've been expending as much of it as we can,
Okay,
because that's reimbursed, that's federal money to come in versus,
so our
Taking it out.
budget isn't the same as the money that we have available in that grant, correct?
So there's rollover, because we got it, you're saying we got it the second quarter, so whatever we had budgeted for the first quarter rolled into the second quarter, so that's our surplus, right?
it's federal grant money, so it can be utilized for anything all the way back to 2020, can't it? Operations.
And there's no match.
There's no
So,
match for it.
That's the advantage to using it sooner, is to build that, that cushion, you know.
So do we have 329,000 total for that grant? Is that what the annual budget is the maximum we have
Yes.
to use? Okay.
There were two. and it
Actually,
was over
yeah, we did
700,000.
actually get more than what we thought,
Mhm.
so we are gonna get, it was 784,000.
Yeah. One of them was
like that.
518,000 and the other one was like 250, so.
So that's just basically like a budget revision that needs to be done if we have more money available,
If
right?
it's over a,
10% of the
10%
category,
of the,
yeah,
which I don't think that it was, so.
not of a specific revenue source, but of that fund.
General fund.
That source is in. So general fund.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's a general fund, yeah.
Saying there's another 500 something thousand for 5311 CARES.
yes,
Is it already, have you already gone utilize that, or is it not yet?
we've utilized some of it, but not all of it.
And
Right,
how
I believe
often is that reimbursed or?
So,
Oh.
I no longer want to put my vegetable.
CARES,
I thought of the shadow. I was running away.
For ya.
So we use.
Almost got her, Jim, next time.
so usually we just,
Now you're in the direct path.
usually we just submit our reimbursement requests quarterly. But right now we're submitting them monthly. And so the quarter that has already been reimbursed, I believe, was 284,000.
It was.
Yeah.
That was for Q2.
So yeah, this is not, it's not based on the annual budget cycle, right? So the 500,000 would go into the next budget cycle?
Oh, no, we were able to utilize it as soon as we received it. Yeah, for expenses that we had. So we used it for expenses in Q2 that were paid in Q3.
But whatever's left will roll into the next
We'll be able
budget,
to,
right?
oh, no, there won't.
There's-
There won't
any
be
of
any
that.
left.
No,
They're
we're gonna
gonna
have to.
expend that instead of expending the federal dollars, so we're not having to put a match in. Anyway, just say, it just provides us more, we've got the STIP funds coming in too, but we're using this instead
Less
of
STIP
that,
funds
which
and
allows us
more
to push
federal
that back out into the next fiscal
I
year.
was curious, like, how will that be reflected on the variance report? Like, it shows 284,992,
Right,
so when will that increase? Because that's kind of been my understanding maybe. is that-
so next month, when I do April, I should have the April reports done by then,
Yeah.
and that will tell us how much more of the funds we've
Yeah,
used.
because we have, we're doing it monthly, and so they give us for the CARES too, that comes out monthly with this?
We could,
Oh,
we could,
No, for-
I didn't do it on the monthly, I only did it on the 5310 and the 5311 federal funds. So that I
Yeah.
could just do the quarterly reports as a whole and then figure out how much of those COVID funds we wanna use.
this will
but
be the final quarter, right? May.
Yes, this is the
April.
final, we're in the final quarter right now of the fiscal year.
So do we know how much is left that we can use?
We have about 400, little over 400,000 left right now.
Okay. And that's not reflected anywhere else in here? No, okay, so that's extra money. Cool. So that's what we like to hear.
We probably, when we budgeted it, we budgeted for part of it in this biennium or this, fiscal year. We'll probably look into budget the rest in the next fiscal year, but I think we'll probably be expending it, but
It seems like we found out that we received it after our budget was complete and we were already, because the award didn't happen until we were in the second quarter. Excuse me.
I could in the comments, if it would make it a little easier, I could put, instead of just saying what it is, I could say like the positive variance so that you know it's like,
Oh,
it's a good thing,
Mhm.
or the negative variance is due to, then maybe it will just
That would help.
help a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay. I can. Or the savings or the, something that will not be so, since it's your first time looking at it.
Thank you very much, I appreciate it.
Overall, I like the new format of everything, and I do like the start to, in the very beginning, knowing where we're at,
Okay,
and the monthly, that works out good. I like it.
okay, so do you guys want to see the balance sheet, or do you want to see like the P and L, like overall? Beginning to end, and then just the monthly, or?
I mean, I like all of it.
Okay.
And monthly, the fiscal year, and then overall.
Okay.
I think it
Okay.
Gives us a better picture.
Okay,
So under the equity on the balance sheet, that's all the income and uh, grants and so on. Is that what that? The 1000040 fund balance?
uh. On the balance sheet?
Yeah.
You have the fund balance, the 1444?
The 1000040, yeah, 1.44 million.
Okay,
Is that all the income and the grants, CARES and all that stuff? Is that what that is?
yeah, so you have the 1,444,000 minus the 1,352, that leaves you 90, this is your total. So this is all of your checking and savings at the top, your accounts receivable that's left to come in. Plus the current assets, that's an accrual that was made for a reimbursement we haven't received yet from Q4. And then on the liabilities, those are payables that are still outstanding. The equity and the net income, so you have, it balances out. I'm not sure, I have to look at how QuickBooks, what it's pulling, I'm gonna have to drill into these numbers. This fund balance, I believe, is a beginning balance that the accountant put in at the beginning, so
In the very beginning?
I think so,
Oh,
yeah. Cause I didn't put that in.
Okay. so that would be like.
So I'm gonna have to look back, and if I have questions, I might have to ask her about it,
Okay.
but yeah.
I'll make a motion to approve the March financial report.
Second.
Motion by Sarah, second by Mike. All those in favor of approving the April, financial report?
I,
Aye. Anybody online? Any opposed?
Sorry, I'm an I.
Okay, motion passes unanimous. And, okay. Any public comment for on agenda items only? Imagine. Everybody up there counts as public, right?
They did.
Yeah. Jim?
I had no, I don't know if it's appropriate.
Oh,
I mean, it's on the agenda.
it's on the agenda.
Yeah, Jim DeWamp, in February says that the mileage, travel, airfare, and per diem are high. Was that due to unknown classes or committees that were not budgeted for? I mean, you get stuff that you go, oh, you know, in 6 months, we're gonna have this, and you go. Then you go, well, we didn't budget that, we didn't know it. I was just wondering if that might have been what we're looking at.
The question was about travel and
Right, yeah, I mean, you look at it, you go, okay, we budgeted 1,000 and they used 2,500, or, you know, I'm not using exact numbers.
Well, I know when we did the budget, last year, things were just starting to come out of the COVID era and they were doing more, in-person type.
Right,
So, we might have just budgeted for the quarter, so it might have been budgeted in, say, the first or second month of the quarter, and it actually happened in the third month, so it could look off that way.
all right, I just curiosity, cause you see there, how come that seems unusual?
Yeah.
But there's a logical reason for it, put it that way. Good.
if there's no further public comments, thank you, Jim. We'll move on to item 7, old business.
Business, okay, so 7.1. Was goals for the agency, which we have previously discussed in the February and March board meetings. I did apply the suggestions that were made during the last board meeting to the final goal, represent transit, and quantified that by staff will establish IGA for emergency services with Douglas County. Prior to the end of fiscal year 24-25, staff will present transit performance metrics, including ridership and system improvements to 6 municipalities within the district, and determine next steps to enter into service contracts with the cities that FTD serves. And staff will work with local agencies serving seniors and people with disabilities and establish a minimum of 2 emergency service agreements relating to evacuation. But with the site review that we went through, there may be other items that you want to add to that, to the list.
So on the goals. Number 2D. Didn't seem like it was time bound. No, there's no date to accomplish it.
Oh, you're correct. So seems timely to say by our next board meeting. Mhm.
Well, that wouldn't be for July then.
Oh, well, that's true. by July 1st.
Maybe it's reviewing monthly or something, after, so in other words, we'd have it before July, so maybe it's providing that monthly to the board or something like that.
Yes.
Might be the goal. instead of the-
Incorporate this,
The post-development.
yeah, incorporate this report into the monthly financial report for the board.
Yes.
That's already written on it.
Develop an internal at a glance report.
So
So it
this-
does have incorporate, I'm just saying, get rid of the develop part because that's
Oh.
that's fine.
Gotcha. Okay, and replace
But the
that
main
with
thing was
provide.
develop and there's no, it wasn't kind of
Gotcha.
down.
Okay.
And then under number 4,
Mhm,
increase ridership.
mhm.
So it talks about increasing fixed route ridership by 10% over fiscal year 23-24. Fiscal year 23-24 includes
Oh.
service to Sullivan and Winston. So since we're reducing that, it would be hard to perhaps increase it 10% above that. So maybe it's 10% on the Roseburg, South County routes. Then that would be comparable.
Well, but fixed route encompasses everything, so if we ended up in a good financial situation and we reestablish another fixed route, then it would be all.
Or you
encompassing,
could say
right?
over comparable services from the previous year or something like that. Just so, we shouldn't be trying to increase 10% when we're perhaps dropping or moving Selwyn and Winston to commuter routes.
Gotcha.
And then on number 6, improve bus facilities. It talks about, the letter B, and talks about install seating at 10 stops without signs or seats by August 31st. I just wasn't sure if we were still doing that, because wasn't there something in our packet for later on about getting rid of a grant?
Right, so
Not, or was
the,
that just shelters?
the semi seats are the ones that we've received and are out in a crate. We've placed one out at Sunshine Park. And Randy has opened up discussion with City of Roseburg regarding the permitting process and whether or not we could do the cement slab on our own, or it is a contractor that
Yeah,
has
it's
to
a
do it.
contractor. So over there, the Roseburg Marketplace.
Mhm.
You wanted a stop there by the
At the
end of
mall.
this month.
Yeah,
So I've been in talk with Kevin over there at the Public Works, and they'll approve the row. Need a contractor, so that's gonna trigger 3 quotes. We need a 2x2 by 13 slab adjacent to the existing sidewalks. They won't let us put it on the existing sidewalk.
Mhm.
And they want us to remove the sign, and then we can put the city seat up.
okay.
So next steps is to get the 3 quotes and
Okay.
go with the best value.
I just wasn't sure with the proposal later on in our packet.
Oh, yeah, that's a little bit different, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, good. Well, they won't have to overturn the grocery carts to
Yeah.
sit down anymore.
Yeah.
I keep moving those.
I end up having to push up, I can't tell you how many grocery carts I've pulled out of creeks and pushed up while I'm walking my dogs. Get as close to it as I can.
Any more discussion on the goals for the agency? No further discussion? Do we have a motion to approve?
Move to approve the amendments.
Mike, made a motion to approve, and Kayla seconded. All those in favor?
Hi.
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Let's move on then to item 7.2, stiff application updates.
Okay, so that is a confusing name, even though I named it. So there were a couple of items. One was discussion surrounding the stiff application that we have posted online. And it was requested that we add the positions that somebody could actually apply for. So in the application there, you can see that I've placed about a third of the way down the page. Are you seeking a position representing? And then it gives check boxes for all of the different types of positions that we have on the STIP staff committee. And then please see website for the vacant positions, because that's where they are listed.
I'm gonna type that one. It says are your, make sure you take R, so it says are you. Are you seeking? It says are yours.
Oh, yeah.
Good job.
Awesome, thank you. Ah. So that was more informational only to show you that the changes are being made. The other one, was the application that had been forwarded by the STAT committee for appointment for the environmental position, and the question was raised, how is it, advertised? And so even though it's been on the website for a year, we went ahead and put it on Nextdoor as requested. And the snip that you have in your packet, it actually shows how many impressions that the advertisement got. So from March 13th forward to today, there were 4,611 impressions. So that's how many people actually saw it. Only one reacted to it, and there were no comments. And that is kind of typical for any time that we put something up that is a volunteer position. A lot of people see it, but not a lot of people react. So that's why we had kind of gone to reaching out to people that we thought might be interested that had qualifications. But even that is not turning over.
And UCC probably some ambitious college students out there.
Yeah. that would
Might be
a good
interested,
choice.
yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Did we only share this out one time?
It's still up.
But it was only posted once.
Yes, it's still up on our website or on the Nextdoor site.
I wonder if somebody can get in touch with UCC and just let them know that, students are looking for any service opportunities.
So the
Is it 2 year
So
or
is-
4 year?
2
Was
year,
that up for May meeting or this meeting?
this meeting.
Okay,
So the first piece was informational regarding the application update. The second piece that requires a motion from the board or a decision from the board is whether or not to accept the application for the environmental position from Capstone. I did talk to her about it, and she says, she did ask, doesn't everybody know that I'm an environmental activist? And she sent me a picture of her in one of those, a new green trucks that, yeah, the kind that Elon
Well,
Musk,
she always had the EV car or whatever it said.
Yeah. I can't
So-
remember what it's called.
In terms of, and I'm looking at the application right now, I feel like I still don't have, and I know you said it last time, you guys know her, right? And so you know her experience. I don't. And so when I'm looking at this, it says describe past experiences or board positions, or where does it say? Oh, no, it doesn't say anything specifically on this one. That's why we changed the application. But what is it that out of these things that make her an environmental expert? Because there are all of these positions available, right? Is that what you're saying? There's service provider, low income, veterans, transit user, dependent transit user, environmental, educational, and public health.
Environmental could entail a wide
Yeah.
range of things.
And,
Just one thing. I mean, what is it that she does that is environmental?
I don't think it needs to be like an expert on it, but, just that one says advocate. But in any case, yeah, she does participate in, things that would be considered, I guess, environmental advocacy. Like she was at the bridge over the summer quite a bit. And the dam,
Does she serve on a
All right.
position or in a?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Organization or, I'm asking for something a little bit more official. I mean, we could consider anybody, I guess, like
Yeah.
that advocates for a certain, topic. To be an expert then, but I'm just saying, what makes her the environmental
So my thought
Advocate.
process on this is that anybody that has a passion for what they want to do, that also has knowledge of transit, that understands how our funding works. Right there, they're 3 steps ahead of anybody else for the position, whether they have an actual job or title or anything that says I'm the environmentalist.
Yeah.
The amount of study that goes into she's looking at the buses, the various different kinds of electric buses. And when we started looking into hydrogen, she started researching that as well. So she is somebody who is engaged, which is really kind of rare on the committees these days. I mean, statewide, that's kind of an issue. There are very few people that are on the committees that know anything about, other than they're advocating for to ensure like seniors and people with disabilities have funding. Or advocating, we do have one that is advocating that when we have the opportunity for partnering with Bike Ped to do a project, that we would do that. They had that interest in transit and a knowledge of transit as it pertains to what they have a
Right.
passion for.
And so I'm gonna push back just a little bit on this, just because this application, you know, we're seeking qualified applicants. And I'm not disagreeing with you that having a passion and having somebody that's willing to volunteer is very, very important. And it's hard to find volunteers. What I'm saying though, is if she does not have experience as, you know, some official position as an environmental advocate, maybe she's better fitted to serve in one of these other positions if she has a professional or something that she can bring to this, because we are looking for qualified applicants to fill a position. And I would like to possibly look at people who are doing environmental studies. It would be really nice to have some expertise in the science maybe of the environmental stuff. Especially as we're going and looking at these green energy alternatives and things like that, that sort of expertise I think is important. So I would just challenge, are there other areas here where you think that maybe her qualifications more closely align? And I mean her official qualifications.
Well, I'd say, she was a nurse,
Mhm.
is a nurse,
Okay, so then
or is still a nurse,
public health.
could be. Definitely has
Does that
experience
make
there.
sense a little bit more for it to be a public health?
Well, she's only one of 12. I mean, there's 12 positions here, right? Or whatever there is. 14, whatever there is. I mean,
Yeah.
that's just one.
I mean, you could,
So.
I'm just saying, if we're looking for, you know, qualified applicants,
well,
like, let's plug people in. where they're-
Qualified is a loose term, I think.
Okay.
You know, I think it's somebody who is interested and has volunteered for things and like she has and, you know, done things before. Like she said, she's ahead of the curve,
Mhm.
you know, and understanding what we're doing here, you know?
Yeah.
So it's good, you know, I'd say that's good enough. And yeah, having students, like you said.
I
people
could
that are
see a number of
students.
spots that she could do it, but she does advocate
Yeah,
for environmental. I mean, public health is one.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, there's all.
She
there's
can
a
do-
bunch
she can do it.
Yeah, I'm thinking if she's a nurse, public health makes a lot more sense. than-
Activism and expertise are not the same.
What was that, Doug?
I said activism and expertise are not exactly the same.
Just as advocate.
yeah,
yeah, it's just somebody that's interested in something that's good enough for me. They're interested in it. They want to learn about it.
I mean,
So,
even,
so she, let me give you, that. So she is a nurse, so
Mhm.
public health would be one,
Mhm.
but do you want a person for public transit necessarily that is a nurse? Or doctor, or just for that,
Yes.
or, but, okay, so we do transportation planning and public health.
Okay.
One of the things we look at is, especially on public transit, is that first mile, last mile, promoting the walking,
Mhm.
promoting the biking, those kind of connections. So, I mean, it doesn't have to be
Yeah.
a medical person. It
Well,
can
I
be
think with
somebody
the overdose
that-
issues, maybe.
Yeah. I'm just saying,
It might be
there-
Good to have a nurse.
They cut, environmental covers a lot of, covers environmental justice. I mean, there's so many different
Mhm.
aspects of what is environmental advocacy.
Mhm.
It's not just the
Yeah.
natural environment,
And it's the
it's
board's
the human
division.
environment, it's the,
Mhm.
yeah.
I just know that if we have this level of scrutiny on every position, we will continue to have
Yeah.
3 or 4 people on our committee instead of a full committee.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, we need
Yeah.
to.
Yeah, I'm not,
That's
I'm
my
not trying to
concern.
push back on getting volunteers, but what I am saying is like, if we are going to have volunteers that are serving as sort of a, you know, expert in that area, it should be, you know, maybe
It's
that's-
not necessarily the expert.
right.
I,
Just to
after our
represent,
last
just be
meeting,
interested.
my first visit was to First Strike Environmental to talk to them about the expertise in environmental issues. I dropped the ball on that. I didn't get them the information they needed to actually have people apply. They are experts in environmental issues, and that's my fault that they didn't apply to that position with environmental qualifications. Public health, yeah, a nurse fits great there, but I think there are qualified people in the community that are willing to do it because they did express a willingness to fill that role. I didn't get them the link. So that's where I stand on it.
Yeah, I think if you just can get a volunteer. And whatever position that they are interested in. I believe in people having the ability, if they're not an expert, that they can become an expert if they want to. I mean, I am a person who has self-taught and worked as a professional in several different things, because I was willing to learn and grow. And I think that's an opportunity for somebody to, like, even just a housewife, just to have an opportunity to volunteer, do something for her community and learn and grow in that one thing. I think it'd be great to have an expert, but it's not totally realistic to have all of them positions like that. Just saying.
They were willing. There was a lot of willingness expressed there. I just didn't provide my piece back to them.
Well, it's not a permanent appointment either.
No.
2 years.
No, it's
Like if you're low income, as an example, I mean, if you're gonna have an expert on low income, you want the person that is low income or somebody that works for DHS or something?
somebody who's been low income.
I think either
or
works, really.
Whatever.
Well, it could be somebody that serves low income.
Or
Yeah.
there's low income, yeah, anything like that. I mean, really, just give people opportunities and say, hey, this is a fun thing to do, guys, let's come and do this. I mean, that's the kind of, cause I'm in marketing and advertising, you wanna make it seem like it's a really great, fun thing to do and serve. I mean, we wanna get people excited about it. I mean, I think we need to add a little bit more excitement to it, like, this is what you're gonna be doing for your community. I mean, wouldn't this be awesome? I mean, that kind of thing. I mean, really just light a fire under people to get people to actually apply instead of just cat.
Yeah, something about how important and how much it can add back to your own life to serve the
Yeah,
community, you know?
and well, for the students,
Be
it'd be a
surprised.
great thing to add to their resume.
yeah,
Tell
exactly.
them that,
I think that's a great idea.
yeah,
Mhm.
if you're passionate about it, come and serve.
I think there are lots of people out there that wanna volunteer, they just don't know how to get involved.
I
and they
do
don't-
too, and like I said, I dropped the ball on this one, but people are out there in these positions with these qualifications that are willing to get involved, just like I was for 49 years. I just didn't know how. And so if we go to the experts and say, hey, this position's available and we need people, I think you'll get a better response.
Yeah, I agree.
And
I know-
well, and to Michaela's point and Tom's point, if we're not advertising in the right areas for the people we're seeking, so like putting up a flyer at the VA or putting up a flyer at DHS or at the college or at the ESD. I mean, people aren't gonna, if we're just, you know what I mean? The more places we put it up, the more people are gonna see it.
I think during the review, you know, with RLS, like I think they mentioned that it is perfectly fine for board members to represent UPD for like spreading information and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So like I personally would be willing to like, do stuff like that to
Yeah.
spread the word.
Word of mouth is the best way for advertising.
Yeah, I've tried
Always
doing
is.
that.
But that you wouldn't get that shotgun effect too, where you just like scatter it, here, here, and here, and here, and you can get some people that way as well.
Yeah, I think like the farmer's market,
But you gotta have a hook.
or like just at the college, at the beginning of the school year, different breaks and stuff. Go out there, just have a little table or something.
I agree, that would be great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm on the housing authority board, so there's probably some people there we're gonna get through.
If we could get the experts, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, I just think that, we should be trying that, and honestly, like, I look at this and there's not very much information on this application, so I'm sorry, I just don't know very much, and I know you guys know her personally, but, even the fact that she's a nurse, I think we should reach out to her and ask if she would be willing to serve as the public health. Because that is her area of expertise, and if we have other people who are environmental, and they are experts and there are people interested in that, let's try to fill that. And let's go to the schools and see if we can get somebody to do an educational institution, position and those sorts of things. I don't know if she would be, up for it. I wish she was here today, but I would think as a nurse, it would be great to have her on the public health.
I'd 100% support that.
Yeah. So, I don't know.
Any further discussion regarding 7.2?
Yeah, is it possible to get this turned into a flyer that you can email
I was
to all
gonna
of
say.
us? And we can start pushing it out in the community?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I guess I'm okay with appointing her to the environmental position, because I think I've seen her act in that thing, but in that position, but if there's ever a need to try to switch somebody later, it's easy to do, so.
Yeah.
Well, if that's the case, if you want, let me just think of the motion.
There's a comment from Natasha.
Volunteerism has drastically reduced it disappeared since COVID. Where did
Go to
it
To the
more.
right and more.
Quick chat.
Oh. As a community member, I would greatly appreciate more people.
Yeah, I believe Natasha is on the stiff stack.
She is.
So I'll make a motion to appoint Kat Stone as the environmental representative on the Stitch Stack.
Motion by Mike, second by Janice. All those in favor, aye?
Right?
Any opposed?
No.
Doug?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Move on to item number 8, new business.
Okay, so this is the packet that has the binder clip on it.
Yeah, we have one question, I guess.
Can you send me, an updated copy after your part is
Absolutely.
updated? Thank you. And I'll help get those applications out there too.
So this packet has all of the resolutions, but the first item, 8.1, is the letter of intent. Oh. Okay, so yes, there's no. I thought I didn't provide the supporting documentation, but it's just this cover page for this one. So prior to the RLS site review, one of the things that I had done was submit a letter of intent to apply for the 5339 grant that is bus and bus facilities. The letter of intent stated that we were going to apply for funding for, I believe it was 12 shelters with the amenities that go with it. They seem to all come in pieces now. And a service vehicle that would be something that somebody could drive around to clean the shelters, service them, all that kind of stuff. I had tailored the grant request down from the full 36 shelters that we would like to replace down to 12 just to get us started. Based on the current financial situation, I believe it would be best for us to withdraw that letter of intent, because if awarded, that's $70,000 worth of match money that we need to rebuild in our reserve. And so I would just need a motion from the board to allow me to withdraw the letter of intent.
And we haven't spent any money out of that grant?
No, it's a letter of intent that I was gonna apply for a
Oh,
grant.
gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. That intent is fine.
Do you have to withdraw the letter of intent or just not? Okay.
I'll make a motion to withdraw the letter of intent for grant 5339T.
A second.
Motion by Sarah, second by Janice. All those in favor? Aye. Doug? Did you catch? Okay.
I'm having a hard time hearing. Are you calling on me?
Yeah, we just had a motion to withdraw the letter of intent to apply for the grant funding 5339 for bus and facilities, bus facilities, and we've taken a vote. Item number 8.1.
Aye.
Okay, motion passes.
Okay, so as we move on to item 8.2, I had updated the plan with just the pieces that come from us as staff, and sent that out to you over the weekend. And what I realized is there was a request that I had not included. And that is on page 9 of the plan, which was regarding an immediate remedy for the situation that we are in. So I added the paragraph that is highlighted in yellow, that implementing the change to paratransit service area on May 1st results in a reduction of 816 paratransit revenue service hours over 51 service days between May 1st and the end of June. And that results in a savings of $81,567 just on the revenue service hours. And that is, of course, with the understanding that the dial-a-ride drivers are scheduled for 8-hour shifts going forward from that date, and that 2 of those drivers go over to NEMT, where we have our bid now, where we're actually making a profit on the wheelchair drivers. It's very small, but it's not going in the hole. So that would remove the burden of those 2 drivers from the grant funded funds in our general fund, and it would put them into the NEMT, which would fund their excuse me, their personnel costs and the materials and services associated with them. Oh, and there was one other thing.
And does that mean that we're going to with reducing paratransit service area, that means that we're changing the Winston-Salem routes to commuter routes as of May 1st as well?
Not as of May 1st, but when the next bid goes through, which is in the middle of June. So it would be a short time where the paratransit does not match. But it is the immediate savings that will help us in the long run. And Randy was good to point out that, well, it will work. We don't put ourselves in jeopardy by doing it that way. And I did also on the page before that, on page 8, on the amount saved, I split that out so that it was a little clearer. The reduction in service that Randy has laid out, he really stuck to what RLS recommended, which was use a scalpel, not a chainsaw. And so That is the service that we had most recently rolled out. It's only been in place at that level for a year, so it's really appropriate at this time to be looking at it and doing a review and making some changes to the route. So it's the least painful to do as well. So by reducing 2 hours in the morning and 2 hours in the afternoon on the Sutherland route, that it's 4 revenue service hours a day. And he also lined out the miles that would save him as well, and we were able to factor that into the formula.
Or does the least used, passengers
Those two routes,
on
yes.
those, yeah, on the ones that were tracking the hours?
It's Sutherland and Winston.
Yeah,
Yeah, so we're giving him the morning runs and then cutting a 2 hour period, and then there'd be a midday run, so people won't get into town for a short day and be stranded. And then they'll have another 2 hour wait in the afternoon and then the evening service. So it's the kindest way to be able to do it without leaving people stranded that have gotten used to using the service. Yeah.
That's important.
And then we've done the same thing with the Winston route. I'm gonna let you go ahead and speak to that one.
Sure. Let's see here, so, well, you all know the history, adding the services, triggered the fixed route and, requirements under 49 CFR 37-121. And that's the extra 24 miles of, corridor paratransit, requirements. What I recommending is that we do 3 runs in the morning, 1 at midday and 3 in the afternoon and evening. And, also to redesign the route as a commuter route. Right now, it's a fixed route running in both directions. The commuter route defined is a bus service means characterized by service prominent in one direction during peak period, limited stops, use of multi-ride tickets, and routes of extended length, usually between the central business district and outlying suburbs. In other words, in the morning, we get the people in the afternoon, we get them out. It still allows for flag stops in between. But the actual stops that'll be on the timetable will be much reduced. And for the most part, the route's gonna be the same line on the map. It'll be a little different in Sutherland. Currently, right now, we're collecting over in the west side over by Ford Pond twice. And that's moving people around the community. And if you're moving people around the community like that, that triggers that fixed route within that corridor. So my recommendation is that we go to Sutherland, do the loop up to Oakland, back around Ford Pond, and then back to UCC to get people into the urban hub where they can get on the red line and green line to get into Roseburg. From Winston, it would be heading down to Abby's and Dillard, bringing everybody back up north to the downtown connection center, Washington and Rose. And that's getting everybody into the urban hub. And yeah, as I said, 3 runs in the morning, 1 during the noon hour, and then 3 at night.
Do we have a communication plan for writers on this drafted?
No, I don't have it drafted yet.
What is the impact of staffing?
I'm not really sure yet, because I have to do a run cut and block all the weekly schedules to see what that would look like. And I'm not that far into the week yet. This is just some rough numbers and a tentative plan to implement.
So we don't have a plan to cut positions or anything like that?
Not that I'm aware of at this time.
No.
It may reduce some weekly blocks,
Mhm.
hours wise, but really until I start doing that, I'm not exactly sure what the impacts will be.
We're in a position where all of our drivers' positions are filled for the first time in years, literally years, like 8 years. And so we want to do whatever we can to ensure that we keep those drivers and that they're happy, you know, not looking for work elsewhere while still implementing the changes necessary to make this all work.
Right.
Yeah. So those are the only 2 changes that I made in the plan that was sent on Saturday.
Have you gotten any updates on the single audit? From the auditors?
Yeah, I've heard from them, no. They requested something, couple things about 10 days ago maybe, and I uploaded all of that. But I have not heard from them. I can reach out to them, want me to do that, and have an update by next.
I know they're swamped, so.
Say with the
Okay.
potential service reductions, we will need to probably contact the media at some point, right, to inform ridership and stuff.
Mhm. Well, I'll look back into the requirements. I believe that because we are rural, the, requirements are not as strong as they are in the more urban areas. But yes, we'll need to message that out, more to the passengers, you know. But yes, we want to, put the message out that we're, adjusting the service. Because it really, it's a normal thing to adjust. And it's something that is more palatable.
It's very few days away though. to get the
Well, May
information.
1st. Oh, yes, so I have to have it out no later than next Monday, then the 15th.
So that was be communicated to the riders.
Communicate to the writers, and I could do a press release also. I can send that out to you guys in an email, and as long as you respond to all with any changes that you want to make to it, I can make the changes or accept it as is. It's been a little while since I've done it, but we've done this before.
I think we have to as a courtesy, of course.
Yes.
I know we still have a month of, how are we on position descriptions?
I actually have them all completed. I completed them all last week. I sent them out to each person that it was their job description, asking for any feedback or changes from them. I received approval from all of them. I know Cheryl met with Sherry and Randy and went over their job descriptions. The only person that I have not heard back from was Cheryl, other than that they did not have a copy of her contract, which I have not been able to find or have not been provided. So, I mean,
It kind of buried.
they're done.
Okay, so they're ready for next month's meeting anyway. For sure.
On the action plan on page 11. Talks about, a resolution for about halfway down, resolution for vote at the April 8th meeting, since it's a policy where the board must approve our TAP funded travel. Is that, do we have a resolution?
Yeah, that's kind
Okay, and how about the fair market rents? Is that coming too? That's coming up?
Oh, that's coming, but I have not had the opportunity to dive into that.
It said it'd be by April, but the due date says down here May, so.
Well, it would be served by May 1st, but if we don't have it, then we can't.
Yeah.
Discuss it.
So we're not going to have another meeting before May 1st, is that your?
No,
plan?
we're not.
No, it wasn't, but that's a good point. Makes me sound smarter if I said that. No, I was just saying it. I just said we'd have it by, send this to the board at April 8th, so.
Okay,
So we still have to do that.
is that something we can review by email to have done by 1?
Okay.
Oh, the fair
Yeah.
market?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I only have one so far, and it's on the agenda, just not enough hours in the day.
So are we looking for approval? The adoption of the action plan, is that?
Yeah, we are It's satisfied with resolution.
I'll make a motion to adopt the FTD action plan, resolution 2401.
Mike made a motion and Michaela seconded. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Jen?
Yeah, I said,
Okay, motion carries unanimously. Okay. Oh,
Oh, that goes with us, okay.
there we go.
There you go.
We got it.
Move on to agenda item 8.3.
Okay, so 8.3 is regarding a change in direction for capital grant 34248. I did provide a bit of information for you, just the backup documentation. But basically the resolution covers most of it. We entered into the agreement in 2020. And it included $332,000 worth of grant funding with a $38,000 match for the purchase of two Class C transit vehicles, 23 passenger vehicles. So through the process, with the delays in the supply chain and then the increase in the cost of the vehicles, and we have extended the grant twice now, and it is due to expire at the end of June. But the price increase the last time that we were provided information took us to, instead of an out-of-pocket expense of $35,000, which is what we had originally intended, to $141,000. When I spoke with the folks at Checky in January, they said that they were not going to be able to have the vehicle to us by the end of June. So the grant will expire. Of course, I would not recommend that we ask to renew this grant. I would recommend that we wait, that we apply for another grant that fully covers the cost of the vehicle for the minimal amount of match. And this just gives you all the background information to come to that decision.
Well, I'll move to approve resolution 24-2.
And Mike made a motion to adopt resolution 24-2. Okay, the second, and all those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Yeah, that's this time.
Alright, and then the next like 5 pages or so are all of the documents, maybe more pages than that. That were the supporting documentation for that decision. And then we get to 8.4.
Moving on to item 8.4.
Okay, and this is a very similar situation, grant number 35326. Not that we can't extend a grant or need an extension. What has happened here is that as a result of our site review and the change in direction, that we are going to have a hiring freeze, not expand anymore this year, then the vehicles that we had previously received were the expansion vehicles that we ordered. So we had ordered expansion vehicles first. And this was a grant for replacement vehicles. So 5 of the vehicles on this grant are demand response vans. And if we're not expanding our service right now, then we do not have a need to add 5 more vans to our fleet. However, there is one Class C 23 passenger bus on this grant as well. And that one we desperately need. And I believe the match on that one is about $24,000. So what I have talked with ODOT and asked them if it would be a possibility to receive the bus and then not take the vans. And what the request was, can we walk the whole order through to the point of delivery? And then at that point, then ODOT can find other folks in Oregon to receive those vehicles, because there are lots of people that are waiting for vehicles and that are in the same position that I just explained in the last grant, where they have grants that are expiring and they're not going to receive their vehicles in time. So that would mean we would be allowing ODOT to place 5 of the vans for us. And then we would just receive the 1 bus.
And those other agencies would be paying the match on those 5 vans?
Yes, the other agencies would take full responsibility for the vehicles.
So basically, we continue with the order as it was.
Mhm.
All appearances to the bus company, it's with UPTD, and then ODOT intervenes at the last second to accept the.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yes, pretty much like what happened with the Ram Pro van that we got with the COVID funding. We had the funding to be able to purchase it. And there was another agency that had ordered it that no longer had the funding to purchase it. So it would work like that.
What, if any, liability is there to us in taking an action like that?
Well, so what we do is we come to an agreement with ODOT, which is what is presented here.
So it would be under contract with ODOT?
Well, with the contract that we have with ODOT is the grant.
So is there any liability to us? Is there any risk in doing this? Any financial risk, any?
We can refuse delivery, but there's.
But if we did that, we would need to come up with the match money.
No,
Okay.
we are, can I ask perhaps Jennifer, would you be willing to explain this portion of it?
Yeah, I would be happy to.
Thank you.
So when we get these federal grants, the federal government expects us to purchase the items or do the project. If we don't do the project or don't buy the product, it looks bad for the agency. So by keeping the grant moving forward and finding somebody to actually utilize the equipment that was on the grant, it's good for ODOT and it's good for UPTD and it's good for the other agency, because they're going to get a vehicle sooner than what they anticipated. Didn't have to do the whole process, because we can move it over to another agency, trying to keep it within the Region 3 if possible, which is good for our region. And both ODOT and Umpqua still look like they've fulfilled all of their responsibilities for the grant, which is a good thing. And Drew, I don't know if you had anything else you wanted to add to that, if you're still on.
I am on. Can you hear me, Jennifer?
Yes.
Yes.
ODOT is trying to relieve the liability that UPTD assumed with the purchase order that it placed to the vendor. So we are attempting to find another viable subrecipient that needs the vehicle and can pay for the vehicle, and we're trying to rehome it.
Okay, so I have a follow-up question to that. So obviously, we're in a little bit of an unprecedented situation here with needing to cancel some of the grants that we've applied for, pivot, change some things. If we were to continue this order, you guys find another district that's willing to take these vehicles, is there any risk to us that we could end up having those vehicles and being responsible for them? Or is this a no risk situation for us?
The risk is if you receive the vehicles you can't pay for.
And I think we're
So-
talking about getting out of this grant. Isn't that what this resolution is?
No, just
Yes,
having.
we're trying to find a home.
So there's no way for us to get out of this now. We have to accept the vehicles that we've ordered.
We're not gonna accept them. ODOT is
ODOT.
going to find a new home for them and the new home will accept them.
Okay.
We're just accepting the bus, the new bus.
We're here to the bus.
The other option is canceling the
That was my
proposal,
point,
which
right.
case you cancel the bus.
Right,
And
well,
everything.
We
that,
don't wanna do
that
that.
was my
Yeah.
point though, is,
That's right.
so is there any risk to us? Or will ODOT 100% guarantee that they're finding a home for this? That's my point.
Yeah.
They will.
We are working on it. As soon as you pass, if you pass this resolution, we're gonna try to find a home for these vehicles.
Okay,
And
I
I
tried.
I don't think that'll be a problem. There's lots of people who need them.
Five vans across the state where they've all been held up, yeah.
I'm just
They'll
saying,
probably-
if
they'll
there's
probably be
We-
fighting.
We've been waiting years.
Okay.
What about the match for the bus? Is that a problem though?
That's the cushion we're building.
Hmm.
And
When
it
do we
is,
anticipate this being delivered?
so they are reaching out at this time for information about the build. What color of fabric on the seat, or, they've reached out to Randy regarding the automatic, voice announcement system. So, it's coming. It's supposed to have been here in March. That was the due, was, March of 2024. It's looking more like June or July, and we can get another date. We can reach out and find out what that date looks like.
So we paid for the bus already,
No,
On delivery.
on delivery is when we pay for it?
oh, yeah. So we submit the reimbursement request and we pay the match, and then, and ODOT reimburses to the vendor. Mhm.
We have to have 267,714 for the bus.
Not if we do everything in a timely manner, we receive that reimbursement that we're able to pay directly to the vendor before the 30 days is up.
So if you don't think it'd be a problem, then in the potential timeline, June or July to have the 27,000.
That's what Sherry and I are looking at to ensure that that's not, but we'll get an update from the vendor.
And what if it is an issue, can we still, are we committed to getting that bus then?
We desperately need that bus.
Yeah, I understand we need it, I'm just talking about like, from a financial standpoint.
So, I think we'll figure out to do whatever it takes to be able to come up with that match money. And with the income from the medical transportation, that is what is building our cushion at this time.
So it seems like we can't do that though, what happens?
If we can't accept the bus,
Yeah, because we don't have a match or something.
if we can't accept it, then we're gonna have to do with the bus the same thing that we did with the vans, only at the last minute. And there are lots of people that want buses. And we're not allowed to place another grant application at this time. So in the interim between when we could place another application and be awarded and then wait the time to receive it, we've got buses that are already past their useful life. that two of them were on 34248. We've been waiting for a replacement for, since 2020. So, yeah, they're getting old.
Can you clarify what, sorry.
Can you scroll down? Somebody put something in the chat and we can't see it.
Basin Transit just did a communication for reduction in service. That was really well done. Would you like me to forward that to you? Yes, absolutely. Thank you. And, oh, Doug said, yes, please. I think he was probably answering the same question.
Mhm. Sorry, go ahead, Jay. Can you just clarify, what happened last time for me?
Last time.
You just said that we'll have to do what we did last time or something to that effect. What were you talking, are you talking
with
about?
the
we're just going to
resolution?
Sell the van to, or ODOT will take ownership of it? Is that what you're talking about? Okay.
And just to be clear, ODOT's not taking possession.
Right, you're finding them homes.
We're finding them homes. We are not taking possession of vehicles. We don't run transit, so we are finding homes. We're not taking possession of the vehicles.
Okay, but there is no possibility that we are going to have to come up with the full match money for all of these vehicles, correct? There's no chance that's happening.
That's what we have, a whole team of people working with us to ensure does not happen.
Okay,
Yes.
but it's a bit of a gamble.
But it's not assured now.
There's never 100% on anything,
Okay.
ever.
Okay, I'm just wondering if there is risk associated. That's basically what I'm asking. So,
Well, the risk is if you accept the vehicles. So we're
Right.
trying to avoid you having an exposure you can't pay for. We're trying to help you find a place for these.
right,
Every confidence you can.
yes. I do
Yes,
too.
I do too.
You know, I'm asking just the question of whether or not there is risk associated with it, because basically what we're being asked right now is, do we scrap the whole thing? Do we continue down the road that we're going on and, you know, hope that they find all of the homes for these vehicles, which you guys are pretty confident that that's going to happen? And so that's just where I'm at right now, is there any risk? You know, has it ever happened that you don't find a home for a vehicle because we don't have the extra money right now to cover
Well,
that?
there's
Which
also
is,
risk with the vendor itself, that you have a contract with the vendor already and it's in place and the vehicles are on order. So there is that risk as well.
Mhm.
You know, the vendor would want to have somebody take those vehicles. And so, you know, the beauty of this arrangement is that I am certain that we probably will be able to find people, because I've already had people asking
Mhm.
about vehicle vans specifically. So I think that we won't have any problems, but you know, there's risk either way for you.
Okay, yeah, thank you, Jennifer. That's helpful. We appreciate what you guys are doing to help us too.
I'll make a motion to approve resolution 2403.
Second.
Motion by Sarah, seconded by Janice. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Yeah, did you hear that, Doug?
Yeah, I'm slow to unmute.
Motion passes.
And then the next few pages again are the documentation that gives the background for the purchase that we were just working on. So for 8.5.
Correct.
All right, so resolution 2404 is for resolution implementing a policy for the board to approve anytime that we implement or enhance or expand service, implement service enhancements or expansions. This is a tool for the board to be able to exercise stricter oversight over the process of implementing service enhancements or expansions.
All right.
Pretty straightforward one.
I move to accept resolution 2404.
Second.
Motion by Michaela, second by Sarah. All those in favor? I just have a vote.
So we're resolving to sometime in the future develop a policy.
We're implementing.
Yeah, I think it's implementing it.
You're implementing the policy.
Implement a policy that, do we have a policy?
We haven't got a written policy, no.
So we're resolving
want
to
it to-
implement a future. Yeah, I'm just kind of wondering what this even really does.
Oh, perhaps we should wait them until we have.
Well, it's a requirement that if I wanna, make a change to service, that I would have to bring it to the board and receive a written, like a,
Plus, it's just a
motion to
requirement
approve.
for us to adopt a policy. It's just saying that we would like resolve, so we would like to implement a future policy. But it doesn't actually require, at this point, it doesn't require you to do anything. And in terms of informing the board,
True.
if I read it, if I read it.
Required board approval to implement service
I mean,
improvements.
it would be simpler if we just made a motion to require you to come to the board for service improvements or expansions, and we can develop that policy later. But that would require you to do something right now. But this just says, we would like to, somewhere in the future, have a policy. Is that, I mean, would it be simpler just to have a motion to
It's up to you guys.
require?
I'm good either way.
Because then at least require something immediately.
Well,
Yeah,
where is it written? Where would that be written?
Well, just, I mean, I think you
Feel like
could.
it's standing alone.
I think you could in a motion, yeah, basically just say that for future service expansions. The general manager is required to present and have those approved by the board.
Could be in the meeting minutes.
And then we could, if there's any formal process or something you wanted to develop, you could actually even develop the policy. if you
We could
want.
add it to my job description.
That's actually what I was thinking.
This
Yeah.
doesn't really require anything.
Well, we could, you know, I don't know.
Well, so technically, if we adopted the action plan,
Mhm.
and the action plan states
You're gonna adopt a policy.
that as of
Implement a policy.
general manager will draft a resolution for vote that will require board approval to implement service enhancements or expansion. So it's not saying we're having a policy, it's just implementing resolution that is the board's.
But
Maybe
that's
it's
not what
just-
this
So
is.
maybe it's just the wording.
So maybe we take policy out of it.
No,
Could just say motion to approve.
It says-
A
Requiring. Board approval.
requirement. So district resolves to implement a requirement for board approval to implement services.
Yeah, I mean, the cover sheet is different than.
Yeah.
Than the actual resolution itself. Because this is approving a policy for board approval. And this is not a policy, this is a policy to approve.
I was probably getting pretty close to midnight by the time I was doing that one.
I think it could still mean that. The board of directors of the district resolves to implement a policy requiring board approval to implement service improvements or expansions.
Should there be the date where it starts? Well, approved and adopted on the eighth.
Well, again, we're just, all we're saying is that we're going to approve a future policy.
Well, this is really just saying that there's not really a written policy. I mean, this resolution is the written policy, right?
Well, so if you go to Mike's
So,
process there, we can just remove the word policy and replace it with requirement, which is in
resolve to
alignment.
require board approval
yes.
to implement service improvement. There you go, that's all you
Yeah.
need to.
Mhm.
Require.
Resolves to require board
So
approval,
delete implement a policy and then change requiring to require.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
Okay,
I just like, we're not
Much better.
agreeing to anything.
To approve resolution 2404, where the last line states, now therefore, the Board of Directors of the district resolves to require board approval to implement service improvements or expansions.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So you can't sign this, you will sign over that was one.
And did everybody vote on that?
No,
Oh,
So I had to remake the motion with the
So I'll second it.
implementation of the change.
Sorry, yeah, Sarah. Made a motion, okay, a second, all those in favor of the amended motion?
I,
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, so
We
I
got
don't,
it.
I don't write anything down here, then.
No,
Very
you
good.
have to get a new copy.
I can do that. Right after. So 8.6 is the resolution 2405 to update the bylaws to move the monthly board meetings to the third Monday of each month. And I did not bring a copy of the bylaws updated with that already, but I can present that at the next meeting. But this would give me the approval to change them.
move to adopt resolution 2405.
Motion by Mike, second by Sarah, all those in favor?
Aye.
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 Passes.
And 8.7. And this is resolution instituting a policy for the board to approve our TAP funded travel.
We just gotta go back to the same
Same thing,
thing. I just, we can solve it in the same way, yeah.
okay.
And requiring board approval for RTAP funded travel.
Yeah. Just requiring, so delete instituting a policy
Mhm.
for,
To require.
and require board approval.
Required.
For RTAP funded travel.
Yeah. All right,
I would say, they require board to approve of that. Okay.
Is this outside of the, what's budgeted, or is this anytime? There's going to be travel.
Anytime.
So if we have opportunities that arise for
Mhm.
training and things like that, we have to make sure that they get on the agenda before, or we can vote by email,
Well,
or
you can always
You can't vote
request,
by-
you can request, thank you, maybe the email that I asked Cheryl to ask them to do the agenda, right?
You'll probably know ahead of time, and if you just go on the consent calendar, or
You can also bring up a non-agenda, I think,
Yeah.
right? For the most part, unless it's a special meeting.
I just wouldn't want to keep you from being able to take advantage of scholarship opportunities or something like that.
well, I'm already gonna have to pass up the next one. CPAA is in June, so, yeah.
so under, I'll move to approve resolution 2406, where we're amending. Now therefore to see now for the board of directors of the district resolves to require board approval for RTAP funded travel.
Mike
I'll
made the
second.
motion? Okay,
Mike made a motion, Sarah seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
okay. And the next one, 9.1 for stiff project updates. I apologize, I did not do this one. There was not enough time.
Okay. Moving on to the general manager report, item 10.
So, you guys are pretty much aware of what's been going on this month with the intimate knowledge from the review forward. What I do have here though is the ridership reports. And we are on a rolling 12-month now. We've hit 99,310 for the last 12 months. which is the highest that our ridership has been since right before COVID hit. And that's for our fixed route ridership. God bless you. And that is a 19% increase over our fixed route ridership last year. And our Saturday service hit an all-time high in March for 718 rides, which is the most that we've done. Oh, no, I'm sorry, December was 749. But it's holding up there. Good increases on those numbers. And then the next one is the Roseburg Red Line, Green Line ridership. And it shows the various different years. So you can see that we continue to increase the ridership for those Roseburg fixed routes. That one is a 16.64 increase on that ridership. And the next one shows the service expansion performance, and this is this was a STIP funded project that we added revenue service hours at the beginning and the end of the Roseburg route. And so this just tracks that increase that's for those additional hours before and after what was previously in place. And the next page pretty much shows the same thing as a percentage. The transit ridership comparison. And this is the one that is really hard to look at. It has the greatest increase in service of all of them, and it is the one that we're going to have to reduce the ridership, or I'm sorry, reduce the number of trips on. So really hoping that it won't take a huge hit in the ridership on that one, and that we'll be able to bring it back in a fairly timely manner. And then gray line for Winston, it shows similar as the southern one, as that increase in ridership has been huge since we implemented the change. So we'll have to really watch and see what the damage is as that rolls out with the reduced service. And then the last page is a comparison year over year for total ridership. Before we move into the Umpqua Rides ridership, which has also been increasing. This is the Port Transit, Dial-A-Ride, and Reed Support numbers. And so we've been holding right about that 2,400 a month spot for a while now. And last March, or this March, was a 14% increase over last March for the demand response. And then Sunshine Park has its own page, and you can see that the ridership has grown since April last year. So we're now a year into the service, and it is very limited service. It is just the 4 trips a day out to Sunshine Park and then into Washington and Rose to give them access to all of the other routes. But it's a fairly well utilized service considering there's only 4 trips.
Is there a way to, that goes to Sunshine, does it also go to Ash and Oak Springs? Yeah.
So they just opened up we've been waiting to go there.
Mhm.
But they just opened it up, so I believe, did you roll service out this week or are you rolling it
Yeah,
out?
this is what I wanted to share with the group here. You want to hear it now or? at the
Yes,
agenda?
yes,
Okay.
definitely, yes.
So let's see, as of April 1st, we're providing hourly service to Ash Spring Apartments on Pomona Street across from Lauren Young. At Les Schwab's off Diamond Lake Boulevard. The bus stop is fully ADA compliant, including curb cuts with truncated domes, marked crosswalks, and a basic shelter with a 2-person bench and a spot for wheelchair and or other mobility devices. So it's also a lot safer to turn around there than doing that 3-point turnaround right there at Lauren Young. So, we're pretty excited to be able to provide that service. And it's hourly as part of the Green Line.
Big apartment.
Cool.
Yeah.
Wow,
That's great.
very good. Excited. That's been a long time coming because that apartment complex was actually done before Sunshine Park was.
Mhm.
But they weren't ready to have us come in there yet. And then our last page here is medical transportation rights. And it does give the number of rides provided by our wheelchair drivers as well as the volunteer drivers. Any questions on ridership?
Move on to. And number 11, update.
Yeah, so, ODOT is, we are here to provide technical assistance for the elements of the action plan that you've adopted. It's our hope that the plan will, with both the short-term and the long-term actions will be enough to avoid a full suspension of service, because that's what we ultimately all want, is to continue service in Douglas County. The current action plan, while modest, as far as a course correction, hopefully it will be enough to push you over the line to keep you going through this quarter, because we are on the fourth quarter. I did just push through the STIF funding payments this morning, and they went into Vanessa's queue to approve because they are higher than what my threshold limit is. We also want to provide Shelley Snow, who is one of our PIOs, information officers with ODOT, as a resource. She said that she would be willing to help edit any kind of communications that you have going out. She did that for Sunset Empire, so it's a really great resource. She writes articles all the time for us, and so it's really helpful. And she's familiar with transit, and she's familiar with the whole state. So she's a great resource. So just let me know if you have your documents that you want. We can have Shelley review them and provide any kind of input on that, so that you can try to ensure that the message getting out is a positive, even though the times are rough. The STIF plans are going to be going out. The STIF discretionary grants are going to be going out in May, and then the STIF formula plans will be going out in August this year. So we are jet speeding through this next solicitation. So those will be the biennial solicitations. So this summer is going to be busy trying to get all of those. You'll just finish your budget, and then you'll move right into trying to get those formula solicitations off the ground and moving. And I think that's it. Just wanted to make sure that we reiterate that we're here. We should be getting the RLS report this week because it's been a month and he said approximately a month. So I will be checking in with David Campbell to see where we are on the formal draft plan for the review that they did. And then I also have scheduled weekly meetings. And Cheryl, you should have that invite in your box. And I invited Sherry, and board members are welcome to attend as well. At this point in time, they're going to be Thursday mid-morning. And we can move those around as needed to ensure that people can attend. And I don't know if Drew or Vanessa had anything else that they wanted to add.
I thought that was great, Jennifer. Well done.
Yep, thank you, Jennifer. I don't have anything to add, but it'd be great if 1 or 2 board members could join that weekly check-in, just so we're all staying coordinated. But I know that you have full-time jobs probably, so it may be challenging. So we could find a way to get you an update outside of that.
Jennifer, is that an ongoing, you have it set up as a series?
Yes, I do.
So maybe invite all of us and then any of us that can make it, and if not, or round robin who goes, so everybody's getting the information.
Okay. Can do.
Daytime is usually easy for me to do.
That won't be an issue, right? Where there's too many board members.
As long as there's not more
Oh, yeah,
than
that'd be less
3.
than
You can only have 3 at a
Oh.
time.
That probably won't be an issue, I'm imagining.
Probably not.
Oh, there's too many of us, someone can leave.
Yeah, we'll drop off. That is virtual, correct? Not in the office, okay.
Any non-agenda?
I have some.
Okay.
So part of the action plan was by March 31st, you guys were gonna meet with Drew about the discrepancies in our, has that happened?
Yes,
Did
we
it?
met with Drew and Jennifer, we discussed all of it, and then what I have to do is I have to get them each, we have to open them up in the
One at a
reverse
time.
order and then close them up
In chronological.
in chronological order. So, I have to get them the SPR numbers and whichever task it is that needs to be reopened. With the stuff with the board meeting, I hadn't had a chance
So
to like,
it's ongoing.
yep, it is ongoing.
I don't mean to interrupt here, but did I hear Tom call for off agenda items?
Yes,
Yeah, we're discussing one right now.
Okay, I've got one when they're done.
Okay.
Okay, so it's ongoing.
it is ongoing. I'm hoping to maybe get some final information to them by the end of next week, I think.
What number was on the action plan?
Number?
I'm trying to. There's a big pile.
6, I believe.
Yes, that's the one about the invoices, right?
It's gonna be a little tedious.
Yeah, I imagine.
So I just need to make sure that I have them open up the correct reports and the correct task numbers.
And then Randy, there was something there, you were gonna bring something to this board meeting, I didn't know, was that all you had, or did you have more stuff that you wanted to share?
No, just the update on the commuter project. And the Marketplace bus stop. And the update at Ash Creek.
Since our last meeting, we had emails while Cheryl was gone about position requests. So we never did finalize a policy on how we're gonna approve.
It actually says in the plan.
Well, I know, but we can't approve over email, so we need to figure out how we're going to approve.
No, it says in the plan that that we have the authority to replace the required positions.
There's a freeze in place for all but necessary vehicle operator positions. In the event a supervisory or management role becomes vacant that is critical to the operations, the board will entertain a request to fill that position.
Okay.
So that at board discretion for those in any, I wouldn't say any new positions, I mean, existing driver positions probably is okay, because those are critical. But I guess we didn't, why not, we can't all say, yes, you can hire through email, because we're violating public meeting laws.
Can I make a suggestion?
Yeah,
I was going to ask the board if we could consider all the current positions that we have, including the AM supervisor position that is now vacant as of last week, essential positions. And that if an essential position comes vacant, that we can fill that position without the board's approval. Because there's the potential, like, before our next meeting, which is six weeks away, if we lost somebody, we would have to wait 6 weeks to try to fill that position. And then have to seek the board's approval for any added or new positions.
Well, we could have a special meeting and we can meet virtually too, to solve that. It doesn't have to be 6 weeks.
Yeah, I don't think that's a bad idea, though, at least establishing what a baseline is for, you know, what we do consider to be essential positions, because we don't want to interrupt business and put ourselves in a worse position. If you're understaffed, everyone gets stressed out. Sometimes you get more understaffed. So I don't know what that would look like, but maybe there is a way to, maybe we could have a baseline developed, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I just had a question because we lost a supervisor that we just added. So can we operate in these times with only one supervisor instead of two? And then there was a request for an additional part-time driver, but it was to reduce overtime. And my question as well, I think it was $28,000 of overtime, we were trying to reduce. What's the, excuse me, what's the driver cost?
Yeah,
What's the offset? Yeah. So I mean, I don't want to spend $20,000 to save $28,000.
Right.
Necessarily, so.
So the AM supervisor position, right now, my operations manager is currently having to cover that. And he is allowed only so many hours with his CDL to where he could cover a shift or have to go relieve somebody. And that person is here because they have to have eyes on the driver, or drivers, I guess, in the morning. And Randy can speak a little bit more to that better than I can. But last Wednesday, Cheryl actually gave Randy and I the permission to add the new driver position.
So because it's not actually a new driver position, it is a position, as it was explained to me, that is going to, we have a driver that has become unreliable. And so it is going to relieve the stress. It's a part-time on-call, no benefits position. So that was absolutely acceptable.
So to me, this is more of a question about budget, not really about staffing. So can we reframe the way that we're thinking about it in terms of if there is a change to the budgetary needs for employment, that needs to come to the board? You know what I mean? Because it speaks to your point of if we're going to be paying in benefits more than what the overtime costs, then we're not gonna hire a new person, because then we have benefits that we have to pay and all of those other things, right?
Yeah.
Essentially.
Or even the cost of the person if we were paying the other person. So there's
Sure,
that.
it's
So it's
a trade-off.
It's a additional cost or it's a potential reduction in cost.
Mhm.
So there's two differences, and sometimes, you know, sucks to have hiring freeze, but you know, sometimes you have to just sort of live with it for a little bit. How long is that gonna be? So.
But
I
if it
think
doesn't
at this
have,
point.
if it doesn't have a financial impact, are we
Well, we're
comfortable
still
keeping
trying,
the
because we're
status
still trying to
quo?
cut costs and make sure we can make payroll till the end of the fiscal year, so we're, and it's a toss-up.
The position I was looking for would be, as Cheryl said, a non-benefited person. It's a float, variable hour, no guaranteed hours, no benefits. The person's gonna plug in the holes, keep somebody from going over hours. If there's pieces of work to fill, because, you know, people get sick, they go on long-term leave, they, got,
And I'm not saying it's not justifiable at
Yeah.
all, but I'd like to see some, excuse me, some numbers, just, you know, and not numbers that are just, okay, we should hire this person, but what happens if we don't? So what do those numbers look like? You know, what does that mean? Are we now paying more overtime? Are we, you know, which costs, you know,
So that's
so
absolutely.
what are those trade-offs? That's what we need to know.
That's a scenario that we could put together and present with the budget.
Yeah, give us some options.
Yeah,
Like a
Yeah.
staffing model.
Yeah,
yeah.
Mhm. But the staffing model also kind of speaks to that budgetary thing of. Are we able to hire based off of the budget that we have?
might be desirable, but can we? Yeah.
So we're currently budgeted for the AM supervisor position. That position's been in place for a couple of years, is my understanding.
One supervisor has been in place. 2 supervisors have been in place since November, October, maybe.
Okay, well, the position is in our budget and I would like to request permission to fill that position. We do have several internal candidates that have expressed interest. And it was Randy and I's mutual decision that we would vet those candidates before we went and spent money on advertising. Because if we can fill that within, we would like to fill it within.
So there would be no budgetary impact.
No.
I just feel like a shift, a lateral shift, or.
Well, actually, there would be
Well, you feel
potentially a
private.
negative.
Mhm.
I mean, we would possibly save money in the budget. You're not going to replace the position that the person moves up to.
We would have to if it was a driver position.
Mhm.
Because Randy is already short-staffed. We have a driver that is out on long-term leave. As Cheryl said, there's somebody that has become unreliable.
Mhm.
And this is the first time we've actually been fully staffed and had Randy not in the driver's seat and been able to actually focus on his position.
So the driver position, is it paid by experience or is it the same rate for every single person?
Paid by experience.
So if we backfilled that position, we would be paying less for that position than we currently pay.
Because
Possibly, yes.
people come to the table that have had a CDL for longer, had more experience driving with passengers.
Okay.
Those kinds of things for wage equity are taken into when we are looking at hiring somebody, taking into.
Their experience. plays
Yeah.
into
But
that.
that position is already budgeted for, so if we had to fill it, it's already budgeted. We're not adding to the budget by filling that.
Mhm.
And another benefit of having another variable hour, non-benefited person on board that's ready to go, when those positions vacate, that person immediately goes into that position.
Mhm.
Otherwise, I'm out driving. So, and if I'm out driving, I'm not getting the critical parts of my job done, like getting the commuter route launched on time.
I feel like there's better ways to save money than operational staff.
Yeah.
That's my personal feeling.
So do we need a motion to approve for her to fill that position?
I have to have permission, yeah.
Motion to approve.
Second.
This is which position, the
The
supervisor?
supervisor.
Okay, motion by Janice to approve hiring of the AM transit.
Can I add something in there? When you've got a range for a position and the previous supervisor is sitting at the bottom of that range, and the potential supervisor would be sitting close to the top of the range, and we have to do wage equity, we're not looking at filling it for the same price.
That's what I was saying, yeah.
They're both at the bottom wage is my understanding, that they were at the same wage, which was the bottom of the wage, because they were an interim supervisor.
But
Right, but if you have somebody coming on board that has, even if it's from within, that has an abundance of supervisory experience. Then the wage equity.
Unless you budget at top step, there's a high potential that it will be more.
What are we talking about in terms of dollars?
Well, the range is about a $25,000 range between the low and the high. So, you know, there's more to it than that. So, just so you're aware, if you're approving it right now, we're approving it before we've looked at what that will do to the budget.
So how
No,
about we
it's
approve
already
a motion to advertise for the position internally? While we do the wage analysis for it and bring that to the board.
This is kind of a hard line for me personally. We can, my personal feeling is take care of the workers. We can save money. If we have to cut service, we can save money. If we have to do other budget considerations, we can save money. Let's take care of the people that work for us.
So the impact, Michaela, is that Randy is putting in extremely long days because he has to be here at 4:30 in the morning to cover that position. And he runs out of hours, driving hours, because of the amount of hours that he is putting in.
Right.
And then it puts, so we have a PM supervisor there Tuesday through Saturday shift. The AM supervisor is Monday through Friday. Without Randy coming in, there's like today, we had our operations assistant that was out sick. We didn't have a supervisor. That's why before you were here, we were joking it was the Randy show because Randy was doing everything. It puts a lot on Randy when he has other things that should be more of a priority to focus on.
Yeah.
I agree. I agree 100%. Been there in that position and I empathize with Randy 100%.
So you have a person in mind, you have the budget, he needs help,
Yes.
we gotta get this done,
Yes.
approved.
All I'm saying
Sensation.
is, I think that we should wait to go through the budget process. Because there is more to this than is being put on the table. And if Randy needs help a couple of days a week, I'm already working 60 hours a week. I can come in and
I
work
know,
them here
I
at
think we're
5:30 in
concerned
the
about
morning.
that as well, though.
So
There's a lot of stretching that we're doing right now, and if you don't stabilize that, you lose people and the whole house of cards could fall. So I agree with Doug. I don't think this is where we cut our budget. We have to have people to run an organization,
And it was previously billed.
right? That's, if it's already part of the budget, I just don't know why we are,
okay,
why
so
we would give support to the people that are working.
while we're having this conversation, then I would like to put on the table that the only position that is affected by the hiring freeze is the executive assistant, which for 5 years was a full-time position. And that is the reason that I am working 60 hours a week.
Right, and I
Why
think
I'm
that is,
working-
that's a not on agenda item that we probably need to talk about because we received an email about that as well. Are we going to talk about that afterwards, after this vote? I think we should.
Okay.
So I will say that the internal candidates that we do not have expensive supervisory experience. If we did choose to select them, they would not be starting out at an extremely higher wage than what the last person was getting paid.
Okay.
Supervisors can be developed.
Yes,
But one of them has supervisor experience, but it's not transit related.
right.
It's military and other types of leadership
Yes.
roles and then one of them has extensive transportation experience. So, I mean, not to put the cart before the horse, but I mean, the first thing I need to do is open the recruitment to see who's interested in there. Then I need to interview, then I need to put that all in the matrix, and then I need to take my top candidates and go through a special project to see, you know, that's usually when they're getting into the weeds and the details there to what they come up with, where, you know, the cream rises to the top. So,
And I think that's at your level to use your discretion. I think that's below board level. Either, I see benefits to either, but yeah, I mean, I don't think we need to delve that deep into the weeds to do it.
I think normally it might be below board level, but at the budget crisis that we have currently, I think it rises to board level. I also don't think it's appropriate for a not on agenda item. So I don't think it, to this level of discussion and emotion and all of that for something that's not on the agenda.
Well, I'm just addressing it because we have.
I know, I know it's fun bringing it up and, you know, about the email stuff, but I'm just saying, I think it's gone too far.
May I make a comment on that? I did request to be put on the agenda and I was told that it was not appropriate for me to be on the agenda to address the board regarding this matter or the job descriptions.
It seems like that'd be fine to me.
I think,
Well, I think that's the decision of a general manager and that's, I think we have to respect that.
I think this is an appropriate discussion personally. This impacts the daily stuff that's going on with the transportation district, and this impacts people. And to know that somebody's having to put in as many hours as these two are having to put in, this is something that is not, it does not need to wait for another 6 weeks, in my opinion. I think we need to hash this out and do the right thing for people. I know that we don't have all the information right this second, but if this is something that's already in our budget and it's something we've already been talking about today, I think we need to act to give these people the support that they need so that they can do their jobs. I don't know where we're going to be if we don't have them.
I believe we're gonna need to level up on the supervisor. That's all I'm saying. I believe.
There is a motion on the
Yeah.
floor in a second.
Yeah, so if there's any further discussion, then all those in favor, what was the exact wording of the motion?
To allow the transit supervisor and transit supervisor position to be filled.
Is that a motion?
Janice made the motion.
Yeah, Janice made a motion, Sarah seconded. All those in favor?
I,
Aye.
No.
Okay, so one minute.
And my no is just because I don't think we have all the information. I'd like to have that information. I think there's other ways to approve it for 6 weeks. I'm not saying that I'm opposed to what they're doing, but I don't think we have the information as a board, and I think in these times we need to be real careful.
Just throwing it out there really quickly, just because I had concerns about the risk earlier with the money that the 27,000 or whatever that we have to come up with for another vehicle. But I mean, are there other places where we do have money? Where like and I'm not saying we don't need that vehicle, but like if people are not being taken care of, is there a risk to losing them right now? And you know what I mean? I mean, we've got to really think about that. Because I hear what you're saying and I'm very sympathetic to the fact that you're working 60 hours a week. I know how that goes and it's rough.
I
So-
agree, a bus can't drive itself.
Yeah. So, I don't know. I don't have all the answers, but I think people have to be first always. Did you have another not on agenda?
No, I was done.
I think he did.
Well, the,
Doug had one.
oh, Doug.
You have not on agenda, Doug?
Yes. What was that, Tom?
Did you have a not on agenda item?
Yeah, I had a guy approach me. I know him. He's a community member. He relies on public transportation. And I made him a promise that I would bring it up to the board. He made a suggestion that we move the shelter at Walmart from out by Stewart Parkway back towards the store itself, so that people with disabilities didn't have to walk so far to access the store. And I promised him I'd bring it up, and I am.
I think that's a great idea, except that parking lot is terrible, and I don't know how you would get a bus through there.
Right.
Parking lots go next.
Where it crashes.
Yeah, that'd be very risky.
Is there, so they do have a separate entrance there though towards the back, that's, I don't think, is it as far of a walk as?
I like to have a back
No.
entrance anymore.
Are they close?
They do, they have a back entrance. Yeah,
Down on that street that goes by Sherms.
Yes, yeah. I don't know if there's an opportunity there,
It's
but,
tight through there, and I have all the dumpsters and all
well, I don't mean driving through that, but maybe the street
the.
level there is closer, walking wise than.
That's
the
a,
route,
You
Is it
know,
out
miss the
there?
hospital and.
No,
start to
no,
fly.
it's not even,
Have to go
When
around.
it
all
goes
the way
back
around.
by McDonald's.
That's
yeah, it's the middle of
Around.
McDonald's.
And there's no good place to turn
There's one
around.
right there.
It's not, I wouldn't say it's a
There's
safe
there.
place either for,
Yeah.
it's a lot of homeless right there.
Yeah.
A lot of.
Weird stuff happens right
A
there.
lot of them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And frankly, you can't hardly get to the store anyway because they park all their loose grocery carts. They're just kind of sitting out on the sidewalk. I use it for my bike path for biking. so
yeah,
it's-
can't,
it's hard to get through.
yeah,
Walmart's parking lot is terrible and maybe there's something that
One of the worst.
yeah.
Walmart can do to improve the situation for pedestrians and people in wheelchairs.
I agree.
Yeah.
Can we send them a letter, a strong worded letter?
Yeah, right to the family.
Well, I don't know, they're charging you to self-checkout now, so.
I mean, it's really unfortunate, yeah, like, some cities, they put the stores close to the streets,
Mhm.
And
so
this
that
is so
it's
far
easier.
away from
Yeah, I
the
know.
street, it's ridiculous.
I don't see how a bus couldn't drive around the outside of the parking lot and swing through.
Well,
That parking lot is terrible.
that would really severely slow
I
it
have a hard
down.
enough time.
Because there's- I can't even get,
Yeah,
yeah, I can't even drive there in a car.
Crash and I
Just
gotta
don't
take
have
a
any
bus out
recovery
and
time there.
fix it.
Yeah,
And that's where they happen. are
There
parking
goes our
lots.
ambulance
Yeah.
service.
And
I think we just have to brainstorm this, Doug.
Yeah.
Well, hey, I did my job and.
You
Yeah,
did.
You did.
And I brought it to the board.
Randy, add that to your list, we'll just check off and say.
We need
you
a
to
cart
look
storage
at it
place
to
next
see
to
if
both of
there's-
those.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean,
I
a cart
can
storage
put
next
On the
to,
street.
yeah,
And then just remember for individuals that can't make it to a bus stop because of a disability, either conditionally or unconditionally, that's what paratransit's for. To
Yeah,
make
yeah.
sure those people have equal access to public transportation.
You got that, Doug?
That's a
And
great.
that is
Good point.
important to destination service. So, but I'll put my eyes on it and see if there's any better alternatives.
Yeah, maybe we could put a flyer up at Walmart, you know, just advertising that, you know,
for transit.
if you have a disability,
Yeah.
we can help.
I know Walmart should install a moving sidewalk.
Like they have at the airport.
Yeah. That would be so helpful.
I'd like it.
Yeah, me too.
I'd go walk it just for fun.
You know, it'd be good to definitely get more information. If people don't know they can use the services, you know.
Mhm.
Let them-
Yeah,
Yeah, they can drop him off at the door.
yeah.
Okay. Anything else not on agenda? No? All right, public comment?
Yes, Jim Gillette. First off, the first question is, all of those 14 different openings, how long have them been not filled?
Oh, since we expanded the committee, when the stat committee became the combined stiff stat committee. Because the stat committee was only required to have, I believe it was 5 representatives, with them being representative of seniors, people with disabilities, service providers. And if you had 5, only one of those could be a service provider. If you had 7, only 2 of them could be a service provider. And when the stiff funding came into the picture, then there were other interested parties that they suggested that you add to your STIF committee. Because it is more than just for seniors and people with disabilities. The STIF is for everyone that benefits from this 0.1% payroll tax that is taken from all of our checks. And so with that in mind, then we added all of the ones that were recommended, and that I did a little bit of research. I, you know, what, as far as what TriMet had, and, you know, Salem and RVTD, and so I just selected the ones that seemed very appropriate to add to our committee without making it into something huge. The greater majority of them have been open since we changed the rules. The 2020. We added the bike ped position, and that one is filled. And then we added a position for somebody with transit experience that is not necessarily somebody who works in transit, but they just are an interested party with transit experience, and that one is filled. And the rest of them have, well, we had a low income person for a time, and then they dropped off. And then we had a vet representative for a time, and they dropped off as well. So, you know, they kind of come and go. But the greater majority, the environmental one has never been filled. There's never been anyone that has expressed an interest. So, yeah, but that's it.
What avenues do you have represented right now?
I have seniors, people with disabilities. We have a standing position for fixed route transit. And then the bike ped position. Yeah.
I'm just wondering, because when Michaela's talking about, you know, qualifications for it, I realize I have as much qualification, or maybe more than Kat does. Because for one thing, I've been here for, I don't know, 2 years, something like that. I've been at most of the meetings. I have solar panels and I have a Tesla. So I environmentally, I have most of the qualifications.
Everybody give him an application.
Good guys on here too, Jim.
Pardon?
We have good guy category.
We got some Birkenstocks too, though.
Pardon?
Birkenstocks, right?
Oh, yeah, always. Always.
Yeah.
Oh, I have short shoes, but I can't run the button with zipper with my hand. So I have to have some. Yeah, but, you know, also there's something else, you know. And I've addressed this before, because I don't watch TV. I don't get the newspaper. I don't listen to the radio. How do I get information? There's other people that are this way too.
Yes.
You have been using Nextdoor. I happen to be on Nextdoor, so I see that. I'm just saying, you know, there's people out there that have no idea what's going on. They're in the same boat as me. And even I had trouble with it, even knowing what's going on, you know. And that was the next question is, I'm gonna have to be using it again. Which is better for the transit? Would it be to use medical transport or Dial-A-Ride or what? Which would be best for me? Which best benefits the company better?
So that is actually a determination that needs to be made through dispatch. So they would talk to you and they would ask you the qualifying questions, whether you qualify for medical transportation, or if you're in the Dial-A-Ride service area or the paratransit service area. And so they would determine what's gonna fit you best and then help you get scheduled for those rides.
Yeah.
Were you asking what's best for you or what's best for
No,
the transportation district?
if I'm gonna- look at this way, my physical therapy is 1.6 miles from home, and I walk 3 miles almost every day. So walking is no big deal. But the fact is, last year, to paratransit, to be qualified, the last stop was at Fred Meyer's. That's still a half a mile from where I need to go,
Oh, on the bus.
you know? So I'm just curious, is which was best way for me to use? Is it, which is more beneficial for LTD?
Can I ask you a question about how to get like the word out and stuff? Are there places that you frequent often that you could suggest us to put up information?
No.
Okay.
No.
I was just curious.
Yeah.
Sherman's Thunderbird's good. They have a big bulletin board right at the exit.
Yeah.
The Goodwill, like the employment center at
Yeah.
Goodwill.
The drive, or
Do you have
the,
anything at DHS? I mean, can we put stuff there?
That's a good idea.
Is that first Thursday?
That
been
first
doing-
Thursday, have you guys been
Yes.
going to the first Thursday
Yes.
thing? Okay.
we've been doing first Thursday for a couple of Thursdays now.
I mean, I'm personally willing to do, if there's like, I know the Wildflower Show, but probably not.
Are laundromats still a thing?
There are some, yeah,
Actually, they are.
yeah.
I don't know.
What do we do for digital marketing?
Pardon?
Digital marketing, what do we do for like online marketing?
Oh, well, we've just severed our contract and taken it down to $5,000 a year max on the marketing.
Yes, that's
stuff.
good, word of mouth, I mean, that can get it going. Yeah, I'm like willing to go to public events and if I have information provided to me that I can hand out.
And we have a Facebook page, right?
We
have a
do.
Facebook page?
What about the events at the fairground?
Yeah.
Would they let us go? I mean, are they gonna charge us for a booth
Probably.
or
Yeah.
they will?
Yeah.
Really?
That's why that first Thursday, I think it's nice.
That's
Yeah,
funny, Margaret.
come together.
Yeah, farmers market would be
There are a
good.
bunch of farmers markets, one in Sutherland, one over here, it's on Saturday, one Garden Valley on Sunday, that's probably.
And they don't charge for a booth?
Well, I'm sure, like, I know some of the market managers.
Just in the parking lot, sit in the parking lot right
Well, you
outside.
see people sharing the market manager booth sometimes.
Okay.
I mean, I know farmers and stuff too, and they might be willing to share a booth or something. Some people, they're really into, this type of stuff,
Well, we can put information on the buses too.
yeah, things.
Again, the reason I asked about how long those have been open, because I applied to the Historic Resource Review Commission. They hired me. They go, this has been empty for 2 years, and they advertise it every month and everything. I'm on my second 3-year deal on it, but because people don't know about it, that's what I'm saying.
YouTube,
Yeah, you too.
people watching their, whatever they're watching, I don't know how much the ad costs for it on YouTube,
Well, you can target market things too,
Yeah.
so you just have to,
I mean, so many people these days, they're either not plugged in at all, or they're really plugged in.
yeah, don't we have our own YouTube channel?
We do.
Depends on what.
It's not that many views, I'm one of the higher viewers of it.
I know, it depends on which demographic you're going for. You're going for the young people, you're the older people.
Well, just to get people on. the-
It's a
the
variety
transit,
these days.
Knowledge about, like, the things they can provide, like paratransit medical thing. I think that's one of the big things, just
Yeah.
for people to know that the option exists. I mean,
Yeah.
I talk to a lot of people that don't even know what I'm talking
Because
about when
my
I say I'm on
80-year-old mom is online.
Same.
She's online.
Don't start making me get a process and don't realize we have the medical side available.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly.
So I think we can get the word out there with less cost. I mean, I'm personally willing to do some stuff, like,
Yeah. We're now, everybody working together to get.
I'm pretty good with PowerPoint, so I can help make some flyers.
I do graphics.
Exactly, if there's some downside.
Take the village.
I'm good at gabbing, so.
Have the driver sharing their Facebook.
Well, there's, you can always do, hard copy, ads and flyers and stuff like that, and just like
Yeah.
spread them around. I mean, that's more of a shotgun effect, but.
Cold shops,
Yeah, just take a bunch of flyers and when you go to Walmart, hit every windshield on your way in. Ride the bus.
Yeah, well, it all depends on what it is you're handing out to people, because you've got, 3.5 seconds to capture their
Yeah.
attention on something, and usually for most people, it takes at least 5 or 6 times for them to see something to actually act on it.
I mean, this is a little unorthodox, but what about like parole and probation? I mean, a lot of those
Oh, yeah.
people don't have their driver's license. If we could put a flyer like, this is a service for you.
Well, the DMV,
Yeah.
there's-
I
they have
sat
a
on
huge
that,
thing where they have all that stuff, put something there for,
I sat on the list of people for housing and social services, and they were always wanting, they needed rides for people that just getting out of jail. They don't have any, that is like one of the biggest triggers for them to reentry, or reentry, crazy.
Yeah.
We could ask other organizations too, if maybe we could just join their booth, you know, like if DHS has a booth somewhere, you know, maybe we just put our flyers on there or whatever.
Yeah, we used to partner with,
Or
Fire
that-
Forever, but
They
like,
don't have, Parker has a lot of events.
When we have a booth, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, ODOT has it sometimes.
yeah, that would be good.
Okay.
Been out of the game for a while, but, you know.
So the next thing would be the agenda bill.
Yeah.
another meeting.
Yes, we have to have another one.
We got an extra week to prepare this time.
Right?
Position descriptions are due at that meeting.
Yes.
What is the date of the meeting? Are we
The
doing
20th.
May
Oh,
20th.
we're starting now with that,
Starting next
okay,
month, yeah.
2 weeks.
Yeah.
This has been the month of meetings.
Hmm.
We're not done.
Yeah, they might-
Thanksgiving's pretty bad.
Okay, April 20th, you said,
May 20.
or May. Oh,
The
May.
next meeting is on
Okay,
Monday.
that's what I was saying, we're not moving it to the third Monday,
There we are.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Third
May.
Monday, yeah.
from May.
Okay.
but not this month.
No,
No.
We're not gonna-
Next week, are you kidding me?
That's what I'm saying.
Hmm.
Okay, May 20th, that's better.
Mhm.
we finished the goals for the agency, right?
Yes.
State staff, calculation update, finish that.
But did we choose Cat or no?
Yeah.
Okay, we did. Okay.
But there was some more discussion about that, even the people sharing the documentation with board members.
I think it was just like correction. Correction to that.
There'll be the budget initially vote, right? Next meeting.
Yes, we'll have to,
Yeah.
we'll have a budget hearing. Mhm.
Yeah. My brain is kind of empty at the moment.
An adoption.
What were we missing from 8? Are we missing something?
No, we revised the,
We made a couple of revisions. I think we're
I
35,
thought there was
32,
one she said she didn't get to.
oh, the bylaws, bring the updated bylaws.
Updated bylaws, yeah. But also the stiff project updates,
Yeah.
how they're performing, not necessarily financially, but as far as the numbers go for rides and miles and things of that nature.
Okay.
maybe the project up door, next door if they possibly. Does anybody have items they want on the agenda?
Yeah, I'd like to see, staffing levels and shortfalls.
So you're probably gonna see a lot of that in the budget process next week. Because we'll have those,
That's
For
fine,
each.
but if I don't get it on the agenda, we can't address it.
okay.
We are able to add stuff to the agenda
Yeah,
as well after the meeting, I think.
Yeah, just email Tom if you want anything and she'll get
Yeah.
it to Cheryl.
As long as I'm the chair. Yeah, Doug, you can always email me with agenda items and I can get it to Cheryl before the meeting.
My,
Until you can be the
my
chair next time.
email, I haven't figured out how I get my email. I can't actually go into it and pull out emails. When I get the email from you, I can then
I
see.
can maybe get you my phone number
So it's
Yeah.
weird.
to Michaela or something.
Better if it came from staff.
For agenda items?
It's better to go through staff, or even if they're going to you.
Well, it's Tom's responsibility to build the agenda with the general manager, so.
optimal is to copy us both.
Yeah.
Yes, there you go.
Yeah, I mean, I would include it.
Yeah.
But he said he can't do email.
Yeah,
I just think government ethics.
Okay.
I don't know. I think, haven't you been emailing his personal email?
well, I quit emailing his personal email after he worked with Systec to resolve the other
No,
one, so.
when you send me the email, when you send me an email, I get it. I have to log into Outlook, but my current work email is through Colonial Life. And once that happened, I can't switch accounts and see my transit email. I'm working on it, but it just took over. I do see it when you do send the
You can go in an app and just add different email accounts.
Right.
Yeah.
Nice, open up different web
All over the
browsers.
place, yeah.
My email issue was fixed. Not real, I mean, they didn't do anything, but
You
it's
just have to
working.
re-authenticate your password every so often, you're
I
like,
got
what
a
was
new
it?
phone and I
Yeah.
haven't, I was like,
It's
well, I'm
working
getting
again.
any board emails, and this is
Yeah.
weird, because we're going through this review
Yeah.
stuff, and I
Yeah.
got a new phone,
So
and then
it
I was like,
happened
and then it
on
wanted me to put my password in, well, I got a new phone, and so when I went to when I go to log into anything, it wants my password, but I'm like, I've had this phone for 2 years. My
Yeah.
face is my password.
Yeah.
I do not remember what my password is.
Well, it did it to me too,
It
and I was like,
expensive. I figured
what the
mine
heck?
out.
And then it wouldn't let me reset my password.
And down to each bank has their own separate password, Facebook has a separate password, and Google has a separate password, because they're used for a lot of different things, and then
I
everything
rely
else.
on my fingerprint too much.
Cause it's like, I don't care, if you get it, whatever.
Right.
It's all non-critical.
I change them every 6 months at least. But anyway, so, next step would be the executive session ORS 192.660. To review and evaluate the performance of an officer, employee, or staff member, if the person does not request an open hearing. That was not a question. This reason for executive session may not be used to do a general evaluation of an agency goal, objective, or operation, or any directive to personnel concerning those subjects.
So you are
Calling an executive session. Oh, pausing
pausing the general.
Pausing the general meeting, yeah.
And opening
Okay.
an executive
Open
session.
session.
All right.
All right, so we're closing the regular meeting at,
Well,
Pause.
hang on,
pausing.
hang on. We will reopen
After the executive session.
after the executive
Yeah.
session.
And we have to
Approximately.
move and second.
Okay.
We're reopening the board meeting, general board meeting,
9:45.
9:45 PM. And, I'm calling a special meeting for Monday, April 15th, 10 AM.
Special meeting.
Special meeting the purpose is to fill the executive committee with their position,
Okay, yeah.
Who's on the executive committee?
chair and vice chair, and then the third
Chair and
person.
vice chair, and then we need to appoint a third person,
Yeah.
because we haven't done that in 3 years, so.
Yeah.
It needs to be made a note to put it in
Yeah,
with the,
regularly on July.
when we do our officers, that needs to be
Yeah.
done. Okay.
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 So,
Close the
special
meeting, close the meeting's adjourned at 9:45.
Perfect.
Thank you, people.
Oh, my goodness.
Pass along.
Well, I couldn't have spent the evening with a nicer.
You're welcome.
Not ready to eat the rest of this.
Right?
My son texted and told me he made dinner that's, oh, it's sitting on the, oh yeah.
Really cold right now.
Oops.
It's sitting on the,
Watch yourself when you turn around. That might hurt.
forgot.